right, viewers, the acrimony between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party is rather known, but this point would be its another, would many will suggest. I want to cut across to our panelists this evening from the Aam Aadmi Party and the Bharatiya Janata Party. Joining me this evening is Akshay Marathe, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. Very soon I'll also be joined by Shivam Chhabra, BJP spokesperson. Akshay Marathe, the charges are very grave. Let's begin with the rhetoric of it all. From a Revdi Sarkar, you're now being called a Bevdi Sarkar.
Preeti, at the outset, I want to repeat what Manish Sisodia ji said in today's press conference. The BJP leaders, whether it's Manoj Tiwari, Anurag Thakur, or any of the BJP Delhi leaders, they have been quoting all kinds of figures, whether it's 144 crores, 10,000 crores, 8,000 crores. My simple question is, why is it that the CBI, which is run by the Bharatiya Janata Party, does not mention any of these figures in the FIR that it has filed against Mr. Sisodia? In the FIR, that I'm sure you'll have a copy of that and you can display it on screen, the only figure that is mentioned is a possible loss of 1 crore rupees. And that is also attributed not to the CBI's own investigation or any complainant. It is attributed to sources, unnamed sources have told the CBI that 1 crore rupees is the amount of the scam. So I want to ask all of the BJP leaders today that where are they getting these figures from? Are we supposed to just believe them because they are telling us this? Why should we take them seriously?
Akshay Marathe, I'm going to go down to the breakdown of these figures because some of these figures, yes, complete. Yeah.
No, I just want to say that in the last 8 years, this is not the first occasion when Aam Aadmi Party leaders have been, leveled with these kinds of allegations. In 2016, I was actually present at Mr. Sisodia's residence when the CBI had come in and raided him. What has happened to that case? It's been 8 years now, 6 years now. What has happened to that case? Why is it that Mr. Sisodia has not been convicted of any crime after his house was raided in 2016? So this is a very standard old script that the BJP uses to malign the image of Aam Aadmi Party, and the simple reason they are doing this is because they see Arvind Kejriwal ji as a threat to the BJP.
Well, that's what the BJP says. It's a narrative that you're trying to build, but I'll come down to that. We're also waiting for your counterpart in this debate, the BJP spokesperson, to join us. But Akshay Marathe, you talk about figures being floated. Some of them are actually real, and we'll talk about them in a while. But I want to ask you something which is on paper, something that you have done, which is to roll back on a liquor policy you said had absolutely no issues. Then why roll back a policy which had no issues to begin with? Because then that smacks of guilt.
First of all, Preeti, when we introduced the policy last year, it was welcomed by people across the industry, across the bureaucracy, across all spectrums of society, because for the first time, we had introduced a policy that was rationalizing the distribution of thekas in Delhi. If you have been a Delhi resident, you know that buying alcohol in Delhi was marred with corruption because they were run by old government contractors who were not doing a great job. So we wanted to improve the situation in Delhi. We wanted to introduce a fantastic excise policy. But in that period, in that 1 year period when the excise policy was in place, the Lieutenant Governor, the BJP made all efforts to fail that policy and threatened contractors, threatened vendors who wanted to contribute to this policy. And in that process, obviously, when the private sector feels that the governments are fighting amongst each other, the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party are fighting, the private sector started to withdraw. So we were left with no choice in the middle of all this CBI drama. We were left with no choice but to withdraw a fantastic excise policy. So there is no question of it being withdrawn because of any kind of guilt. In fact, when Mr. Sisodia's name is cleared and he is acquitted, we will reintroduce this policy. I'm saying this on
you're saying you're going to reintroduce this policy, but I want to bring in now Shivam Chhabra into this conversation. But Akshay Marathe, the other big question is, if this policy was so great, then whatever you projected on paper in the kind of revenues you were going to pull in, you fell short of that revenue mark. And grossly so.
Can I respond to that? It's a good question. It's an important question, Preeti. If you look at the time when these projections of revenue were made, we were right in the middle of the pandemic. In that time, a lot of revenue projections have actually failed. It is not just the Delhi government's revenue projections that have failed. Across the country, because of the lack of economic activity, revenue projections have fallen short. How is that any evidence of corruption? And my mind is boggled by this allegation that because during the COVID pandemic, some revenue projections fell short, therefore Mr. Sisodia is corrupt. That is just
I will bring in Mr. Chhabra into this
argument.
conversation, and maybe he will elucidate on what the corruption charges are, because the corruption charges that BJP is making, Akshay, come from the fact that kickbacks were given, that money was funneled to fund the Punjab elections, of the waivers that were given, hear me out, of the waivers that were given to the tune of 143 crores to the liquor mafia, then 35 crores to the liquor vendor at the airport. So there is a lot going on there. Yes.
Preeti, you're raising important questions.
No, may I, Akshay Marathi, with your permission, may I please bring in the BJP spokesperson?
Yes, of course. Just let me say one line. It's important for your viewers to know that these are allegations of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, let me take this question.
Central Bureau of Investigation.
Let me take this question.
They're not this.
Okay, let me take this question to Shivam Chhabra. Shivam Chhabra, Akshay Marathe, and even today's subsequent press conferences seem to suggest and say by the Aam Aadmi Party, the charges that we are talking about, 143 crore waiver being given to the liquor mafia, a waiver of over 30 crores given back to the liquor vendor where the airport is concerned, and other charges as well which were raised by the likes of your own ministers, Manoj Tiwari, your own BJP leader, who actually went on and suggested a scam of 800 crores. None of this is mentioned in the FIR or by the CBI, is what the Aam Aadmi Party says. How is it that the BJP is privy to this?
Sisodia did a press conference today after the CBI raided his premises and his associates' premises yesterday for the entire day. I mean, you could see his pale face, the way you could see, the thief's face while he's trapped in the, in the web of the police. So the kind of desperation that has come through the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson since last day. I mean, almost six press conferences yesterday, 3-4 press conferences today by the...
How many of you had, Mr. Chhabra? We in the newsroom don't know what to do because it's one press conference follows the other. So before the Aam Aadmi Party press conference ends, yours begins. Then it goes back to the Aam Aadmi Party. Go ahead, sir.
With all due respect to you, what I'm saying is the kind of press conference, the series of press conference Aam Aadmi Party has done clearly shows that Aam Aadmi Party is in dock. Manish Sisodia is guilty of the charges being put against him.
Mr. Chhabra, I'll ask you that question again. The fact is my press conference is better than your press conference, is open to the public to decide. But I'll come back to the question. Mr. Chhabra, hear the question out. Hear the question out. The question is these figures that are being floated. And it's a plausible question. You'd understand that. You'd accept it. The figures of 143 crore waivers being given to the liquor mafia, then over 34 crores being given to the liquor vendor at the airport, kickbacks received from them. It's not mentioned in the CBI FIR is what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying. They're asking you, how are you privy to this information?
See, honestly, I'm not a CPI spokesperson, so it is going to be unfair on my part to probably answer on their behalf. But what I can say is the allegations made against Aam Aadmi Party of almost 143 crores being lent out to them informally.
But this is not the CBI. It's not the CBI, Mr. Chhabra. This is what the BJP is saying. CBI's FIR doesn't mention it.
The CBI's FIR it is not supposed to be mentioned out there also. It is no mandatory thing. It is our allegation and CBI is investigating into the same. Let the CBI investigate. Why are we jumping, the goals? Let us just wait for the investigation to happen. The premises of Manish Sisodia and his associates have been raided yesterday. What is important to see is, Preeti, it's a very, very basic, a very, I would say, an elementary question put up to the Aam Aadmi Party. And honestly speaking, since yesterday, not a single spokesperson has been, able to answer this question. If this liquor policy was so fine, so good, what was the need to roll it back on a one fine day and then again roll it back to the previous policy and say, no, we're going to continue for another 2 months.
If you had come into the debate earlier, that was my first question to Akshay Marathe, but I'm going to get him in. Ask your second question, sir.
But unfortunately, second question is, it's not a question, but it's more of an allegation. What is interesting to see, this liquor policy was framed almost 6 to 7 months prior to the Punjab election. Now they say don't connect it to the Punjab election. Why shouldn't we? Because the fact of the matter is the friends and all the friends of Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, who were given out the thekas in Delhi, actually funded the entire campaign of the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab. That is the fact of the matter. They need to answer that who are they? They need to answer that why was almost 35-40 crores were actually given back as a bank guarantee to one of the friends of Manish Sisodia. They need to come up and answer.
Okay, Akshay Marathe, the question that because officials were not signing on the dotted line during, the liquor policy, because it was under investigation, there was a scare where vendors were concerned, that's why we rolled it back, is an explanation which is really not cutting fine, which has also been echoed by Mr. Chhabra. The second question is that the CBI sources do insist somewhere down the line that they have proper bona fide proof of money trails going, of percentages being funneled into the Punjab elections.
First of all, where is the evidence that the CBI has any of this proof? Why doesn't the CBI come out and say this? Why is it that sources are telling the news channels and sources are telling the BJP that there is evidence of corruption? If there is evidence of corruption, show it. Show the country that there is evidence of corruption. बार-बार झूठ बोल के वो सच्चाई तो नहीं बन जाएगी ना? ये BJP वाले, they have become very good at cooking up stories. They have actually started to rival Chetan Bhagat now when they are making up their stories. Because only Chetan Bhagat is able to tell as
I'll come to you, sir. I'll come to you. Let's go one by one. No point talking over each other. Can I just get Akshay Marathe and we'll go across to Mr. Chhabra. Mr. Chhabra, hold your peace. Coming right back to you. Mr. Chhabra, Mr. Marathe, go ahead.
We saw for the last 14 hours yesterday, the CBI was at Mr. Manish Sisodia's residence. Where is the evidence that in that raid of 14 hours, they found any cash at his house, any documents that suggest his involvement in any scam? If there was anything, the CBI would have been the first to show all of you that there is evidence of corruption that they found at Mr. Sisodia's house. When Partha Chatterjee in West Bengal was raided, every channel had pictures of wads of cash, hundreds of crores of rupees. After 14 hours of reading Mr. Sisodia, they found nothing. They found nothing that they can show you guys. What kind of investigation is going on here? Why is this witch hunt happening against India's national asset who has transformed the lives of children of Delhi through his work in government schools? The BJP is jealous that Aam Aadmi Party's ministers, whether it's Satyendra Jain or Manish Sisodia, are getting international acclaim for their work in government schools and hospitals. That is why they are going after Arvind Kejriwal and his government.
All right.
That is why the BJP can't
Shivam Chhabra, you wanted to come in.
The question,
right. Shivam Chhabra, the question is also, as you say that the CBI needs to investigate and go about its business, it is investigating. It's for the CBI now to come up with a charge sheet or make an arrest before that. It's for the CBI to do it. Why is the BJP piggybacking on raids which till now at least haven't proven anything?
No, we've been alleging what all allegations we made against Arvind Kejriwal are actually coming out to be true. I mean, the CBI investigating the same case.
Let's go one by one. Please let Akshay Marathe, don't interrupt him. Go ahead, Mr. Chhabra.
No. What I'm saying is, when Honorable LG has actually, suggested a CBI probe into the matter, it itself says that yes, there's no smoke without fire. Something is wrong. If something is wrong, why are they scared of out of a probe? Why is Manish Sisodia scared of a probe? You need to answer that. There is no smoke without fire, Preeti. Second thing, he is always saying again and again, these people are basically drifting down and going out to a debate on a Shiksha model and health model. Let me please don't force me to, operate their Shiksha model. Please don't force me to do so. It is not the day to do so. What I am only saying is, let the CBI come out and say what facts are into the case. One, let them investigate the matter in the best possible way to do so. And trust me, Preeti, Mr. Akshay Marathe will ultimately have to go to the jail to meet Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal. That is the fact of the matter.
Akshay Marathe, you want to come in? Quickly, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. He was saying that the LG has said there is a scam, so there must be a scam. The whole country knows the LG is appointed by Mr. Modi and his government. How should we take the LG's word at face value? The LG is a political appointee of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
One by one.
Are the people of this country, the BJP thinks they are fools that they'll believe any nonsense that the BJP will come out and say and we'll believe them. Why should we believe them? For the last 8 years, BJP has been saying this Aam Aadmi Party leader is corrupt, that Aam Aadmi Party leader is corrupt, but not a single case ever reaches the the courts, and the courts have acquitted every single MLA who the Delhi police has gone after in the past 8 years.
Satendra Jain,
the
Satendra
courts
Jain,
go after these
Satendra
agencies
Jain, your
saying that you target Aam Aadmi Party leaders unfairly.
Akshay Marathe,
because of their
Satendra Jain, your
political
health
vendetta.
minister is
So
not free.
Why should we believe the BJP? Why should the people of India today believe the BJP's nonsensical
Okay,
allegations?
but
Now,
Akshay
point number
Marathe,
two.
Akshay
If the
Marathe,
BJP
Satendra
and
Jain,
the
your health
CBI was
minister
truly serious.
is still.
Can I-
Yes, go ahead. Make your point. But
If the BJP and the CBI was really serious about corruption, just 1 month ago, 80 people in Gujarat lost their lives because they drank illegal spurious liquor. If the BJP and CBI were serious about corruption, they would have raided the premises of the BJP leader responsible for supplying that illegal liquor.
I want to bring
they're
in.
not interested in corruption.
All right, I want to bring in Mr. Chabra, but Akshay Marathe, the fact is it's not that every Aam Aadmi Party leader or an MLA or a cabinet minister has been clean. You and I know better. You've sacked your own in Punjab. Your health minister, is still not free. He's still under arrest. So you know better. Okay, Mr. Chabra, go ahead. You want to make a point? I'll come back.
Just wanted to say that let me rectify. He's no more the health minister. He's just a minister without a portfolio. Who is into the jail? Who is into the jail? One. Second thing, as far as the BJP's allegations are concerned, yes, it's absolutely true. But what is important to see is the Honorable Court has made this observation that there are substantial proofs against Mr. Satendra Jain to probably move this case. Now, if there's a prima facie, even if it is prima facie, it is the observation of the Honorable Court, not of the BJP. So let us be honest toward ourselves. As far as you were talking about Punjab, you were scared that this matter is going to come out in the public and going to create a lot of problems for the Aam Aadmi Party there in Punjab. So they were smart enough to probably sack him before this matter comes into the public frame. So they need to be let them not take a victim card everywhere they could do it. What the reality is that Aam Aadmi Party has extreme lot to answer. They need to answer. They need to answer that what corruption they've been doing for so long, and now their deeds are basically coming out in open. If there is a probe, they should accept it and they should face it.
Okay.
Let the truth be in front of the world. Why are they scared of?
All right. Okay. I want to go back to Mr. Marathe. Mr. Marathe, hear the question out, sir. The fact is, you have said that yes, and you are correct that there is no figure in terms of which is being suggested that was given as waivers. No figure there, but the FIR at least suggests 2 payments in crores was allegedly made to close associates of Mr. Sisodia by Sameer Mahindra. Now, these are all part of the FIR, and there's more on that.
No, Preeti, I actually fully agree with the BJP, because when the BJP says, why doesn't Aam Aadmi Party welcome the probe? We actually fully welcome the probe. We would like all agencies to probe us every day, every night, whenever they want. Because we know that at the end of this investigation, we will come out clean, as it has happened several times in the past. So we will actually get more and more certificates of honesty from our opposition, and we are very happy about that. So the BJP should be in no misconception that Aam Aadmi Party is scared and we are running away from the probe. Please probe us. Please probe us day in and day out. That is your only job as the central government, to probe Aam Aadmi Party leaders. The people of India are looking at your waste of time. The people have not voted for you so that you can investigate opposition leaders. They have
Akshay
voted for
Marathe,
BJP
Akshay
so that they can
Marathe,
improve their lives.
like
But
Mr.
instead of
Chabra, let's
doing
not
that,
get into
the
rhetorics
BJP
of
is
it all.
only interested.
Okay, I want to come back to you. Now, what else does the FIR say? The FIR also suggests that very close associates were actively involved in managing and diverting the funds collected from liquor licensees for the accused, which is Manish Sisodia, and given to the associates, collecting around over 5 to 8 crores in 2 payments. Now, these are money trails which the CBI says it has, and that is all mentioned in the FIR.
Absolutely, and now the CBI will have to prove these allegations. For the first, I think we have come to a point in this debate where we are accepting that the BJP's allegations have got nothing to do with the CBI case. But now, coming to the CBI's FIR, I am saying on record, let the CBI investigate, we will come out clean. I'm saying today that these allegations are false. But my question is, why is it that we don't see the CBI go after BJP leaders involved in the illegal liquor scam in Gujarat? 10,000 crore rupees of excise diversion is happening in Gujarat. The CAG has said this. The CBI should go after those BJP leaders responsible for stealing from Gujarat's exchequer. Why doesn't the CBI go after the people who built the Bundelkhand Expressway, which after 5 days of the Prime Minister inaugurating it, the highway collapsed? This happened just last month.
Okay.
It is such a big scam, but the CBI is not interested because they are not about corruption. This whole issue is about going after Arvind Kejriwal. Arvind Kejriwal today is becoming
Okay.
one of the most popular leaders in India because of his healthcare and education model. And the BJP is jealous and insecure
Okay.
that there is a leader in this country who people are
Shivam
looking up to for solving their problems.
the
and
fact
looking up
is,
to for
what
changing
the
this
Aam Aadmi
country.
Party seems to suggest is, you know, it's for the CBI to come good on the charges it's made in the FIR, and they say that they're going to come out clean. But what irks the BJP is the growing popularity of their leader, Arvind Kejriwal, who they say is going to be the primary contender to Narendra Modi in 2024.
See, self-proclamation has got no end. 2014 has seen how Arvind Kejriwal lost badly in Varanasi. He actually fled from Delhi, from his responsibilities in Delhi, just to fight against the Honorable Prime Minister in Varanasi. And history is the answer to it. So I don't need to get into that kind of a debate. What he needs to answer right now is who's going to pay back the exchequer's amount which has gone down in corruption in Delhi in the liquor policy. He needs to come up and answer that why was almost 140 crores being siphoned off to by his friends and probably used in the states of Punjab during the election. He need to come up and answer that why almost 40 crores were bank guarantee was returned back to a very, very favorite person of Manish Sisodia. He need to do this answering. He's not going to do. Don't level.
But the Aam Aadmi Party, Mr. Chhabra says, prove it first. But the Aam Aadmi Party says, prove it first. They are saying, prove it and we'll return the money.
Let the CBI do it. I'm not the investigation agency, but my allegations still stand fair enough to what I said, and I'm happy that CBI is investigating the case. The India's premier investigative agency is investigating the case, and I'm sure that there is no smoke without fire. Arvind Kejriwal ji and Manish Sisodia ji ultimately have to go to the jails, and you will see in some time.
Okay, Akshay Marathe, we want to come in quickly.
Just 2 quick points. The BJP keeps saying there is no smoke without fire. Yes, there is a fire. The fire is lit under the bottoms of BJP leaders who are afraid of Arvind Kejriwal, and that is the smoke we are seeing today. Number 2, the CBI, which he's calling a premier investigation agency, for the last 8 years, they have not been able to prove a single allegation.
But we go one by one.
Let's maintain the
so why is it? I would request Shivam Chhabra, who is a BJP spokesperson, to join the CBI and assist the CBI, because clearly Shivam Chhabra has some amazing expertise in investigation that the CBI lacks. The CBI is trying for 8 years, Mr. Chhabra, to prove anything against Aam Aadmi Party. Why don't you join the CBI? Your country and the CBI needs you today, Mr. Chhabra. Your expertise is required in this premier investigation agency that has failed to prove a single allegation in the last 8 years.
Okay, Mr. Chhabra, okay, Akshay Marathe, now it's just, okay. Mr. Chhabra wants to come in. Mr. Chhabra, please go ahead, make your point, and then I'm going to close this debate.
No, I'm just saying, please maintain the sanctity of the debate. Let's stick, they need to do more of answers rather than cribbing about other things. They need to answer who's going to pay back the country's money. I'm not here to probably get into a below the belt kind of a debate. I can do it, but I'm sorry, I don't level myself to what Akshay Marathe did. Arvind Kejriwal ji, Manish Sisodia ji need to answer a lot to the people of Delhi. They are accountable to the people of Delhi. They are the most corrupt leaders that have Delhi has actually got in history.
All right.
So
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Let's hear it from the CBI as the probe is conducted. Gentlemen, appreciate you both joining us. One thing is for sure, viewers, we're going to continue to see this all-out, no-hold-barred political slugfest between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. What we're already witnessing is back-to-back, breathless press conferences. One ends, the other one begins, which is the Aam Aadmi Party ends, and then Bharatiya Janata Party begins, and then it goes all over again in that circle.